Hello and welcome to the Philly Fast Break podcast. My name is Sean Kennedy. On the line with me, as he is every week, is our NFL handicapper Dan Urda. First, couple programming notes. First off, we are not going to be recording the podcast next week. Taking a week off. I'm personally going to be out of the country on vacation, so rather than try to have Dan write a column or do something similar, we're just going to take the week off, regroup, everybody focus on your first round of your fantasy playoffs instead.
I'll
Um,
tweet. I'll tweet, please.
Dan will tweet plays. Be sure to follow him at GamblingDan88 on Twitter. Um, so yeah, no podcast next week. Other programming note, as always, we want to thank our sponsor, JoannaPlatt.com. You can also check out her podcast, Love Always Joe, which is available either through the website or on iTunes. That's for all your life and relationship coaching needs. Thank you very much to them for sponsoring the podcast. And once again, that's Joanna-Platt.com. So, all right, Dan, good week 12 for you. You went 3-1. You closed out your teaser with the Chargers. You had Denver getting points. They won outright over Pittsburgh. Minnesota covered for you. Your only loss was Carolina last week, but yeah, another good week for you. How do you feel? How do you feel about it? How everything played out?
Feel great. Everything went more or less the way I thought it was going to. Even that Carolina game, man. Carolina controlled that entire game from kickoff, from opening kickoff until about the 2 minutes left in the game mark. It was kind of a rough beat. Could have been a perfect week.
Yeah, they had a shot, and Carolina could have gone for a fourth down to try to get a touchdown and kind of ice the game. Instead, they went for a field goal, and then Russell Wilson marched them back the other way and got the win for them. Yeah, Riverboat Ron has not been quite as gambling as he used to be in his heyday of the Riverboat days. But yeah, still a good week for you on the whole. I know you got a lot of plays for Week 13. We're recording this on Thursday night, so we won't be discussing the Saints Cowboys game. But still pretty packed slate for you from our brief discussion off air. So why don't you go ahead and give us your first play for the week?
Man, I'm a little nervous. I'm actually watching the game. I know you just got home from actually doing things. I've been watching the Thursday night game. The Cowboys look real good.
They do, yeah. I liked this spot for them a lot. Everybody was just oh, the Saints are going to roll. But as much as I hate I've been down on the Cowboys all year. They have looked a lot better lately. Cooper has really opened things up for them on offense, just as a guy to prevent teams from stacking the box as much against Elliott in that run game. Their line's a little healthier. They've kind of gelled, and the defense has been a top 10 unit in the league. They've been great all season. But yeah, we don't need to discuss this game since it's already going to be over by the time people are listening to this. So how about Sunday action? What do you like?
All right. First thing to start off is we're going to do something a little different. I kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. I definitely like them to win. I like the -3.5, but I never like to lay 3.5 because then if they win by a field goal, I'm just going to be kicking myself for not buying a half point or teasing or whatever. So I'm going to money line parlay the Steelers, the Chiefs, and Appalachian State in college football. Now the Chiefs are playing the Raiders. I don't need to explain that one. They're clearly going to win that game. Appalachian State is home against Louisiana Lafayette. They are about 15.5 point favorites. I don't think that there's any danger of them losing that game outright. Whether or not they cover the spread, I don't know. But basically, the reason I'm attaching them is so I can just money line Pittsburgh. And I like the Steelers in this spot. I think since we've been doing this podcast, or at least the last couple of years, we kind of have a good feel of the Steelers. Like last week, it just felt like one of those games where Ben was going to not play well. I feel like this is one of those games similar to a couple weeks ago on the Thursday night when it just set up really well for them to beat a good team pretty handily. Like I said, I parlayed it so I don't have to worry about the 3.5, but I do think that the Steelers take care of business at home against the Chargers. So we got Pittsburgh, Chiefs, and Appalachian State for a moneyline parlay. It pays about +110.
All right, so I'm actually going to be going against you because I like the Chargers +3.5. That's one of my two plays this week. I think Joey Bosa has been back in the lineup the last couple of weeks for that Chargers defense. He already has 2 sacks. That makes a big difference for them. He's a game changer on that side of the ball. The offense has been outstanding all year long. Phillip Rivers last week set the record for most consecutive completions to start a game. They've just been firing on all cylinders. They did lose Melvin Gordon, but they have a very capable backup with Austin Eckler. I think they won't lose too much with the drop off from Gordon to Eckler. So I expect them to still be able to put up a fair amount of points. And then, as I said, I like the Chargers defense getting a little better with Bosa being back there. But the Steelers just, I don't know, man. They had the whole running back controversy with Bell early in the season. Now that's over with. He's not coming back. But now Roethlisberger's calling out teammates in the post game last week. He said he basically said, "I've earned the right to criticize my teammates." I don't know, if you're a Steelers teammate, that's not something you like to hear from a guy that didn't play exceptionally well and actually had the game-ending interception that cost you the game. Like, so I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of bad vibes coming out of that locker room. I think the Chargers, at the very least, they're on equal footing with the Steelers. And I know this is in Pittsburgh, but you're getting that extra hook with the 3.5. I like 3.5 here.
All right. Well, the good news is because I did the money line way and you're taking the 3.5, we could both win.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. Steelers 3-point victory.
That'd be
That'd be
great.
that'd be
I don't think that's happened. I don't. We've been against each other a couple times in situations like that, and I don't think it's ever hit in the middle where we both won.
well. Then we're due. I think
Yeah.
is what it boils down to. So
Let's hit it.
all right. So Dan
Steelers
had
rule.
there we go. Steelers 31, Chargers 28. That'd be great. So money line parlay for Dan. He's taking the Steelers, the Chiefs, and Appalachian State. Pays out at plus 110. I'm on the Chargers plus 3.5. So we'll see which of our gut feels with that game turns out to be more accurate. But we could always hit that middle. We'll find out on Sunday. So all right, Dan. What's your second play for the week?
Well, at the risk of being very, very square, I love Indianapolis -4 at Jacksonville. Everybody is on Indianapolis. Everyone knows Blake Bortles was benched. Jacksonville kind of seems like they're in disarray. Leonard Fournette suspended. It's the Cody Kessler and T.J. Yeldon and Carlos Hyde show. And playing against a team like Indianapolis, who has been extremely impressive lately, I feel like everyone is on Indianapolis, but I agree with them. I can't see. I mean, when you bet on sports, what you're doing is you're saying this is what I think is the most likely scenario. And I don't, yeah, Jacksonville might win, Jacksonville might cover, but the most likely scenario is a team with Andrew Luck and T.Y. Hilton and these star players in the middle of a playoff hunt is going to be able to take care of a team led by Cody Kessler. And I think the line is a little bit wonky because of the quarterback switch. I'm not sure exactly when it came out. I cannot see Indianapolis not rolling in this game.
All right. Can you just double check that's still at 4? I'm currently seeing it at 4.5. If you can get it at 4, that's
I
great.
have it right now. We have different sports books. This happens every now and then.
No,
I,
I know. It could very well still be at 4 for you. I just want to make sure.
I have 4 up right now.
All right, so 4 it is. Yeah, I think the Colts have been playing great. Their defense has looked okay, and Andrew Luck has a streak going where he throws 3 touchdowns every week. They lost Jack Doyle for the season, but Eric Ebron's tied for the league lead in touchdowns, not just of tight ends, but of anyone in the league. So they certainly have capable fill-ins for Doyle. And Marlon Mack did practice, so it looks like he might be out there on Sunday, coming out of the concussion protocol. But even if he does not, they still have Naheem Hines and Jordan Wilkins and some other guys that have gotten plenty of work this year and have shown themselves capable. T.Y. Hilton looks fully healthy. He's been back to his dynamic self the last couple weeks. So yeah, it's hard to see how they don't put up high 20s even against Jacksonville. Jaguars defense hasn't looked nearly as dominant as they did in years past. They kind of look like they just gave up in the season because Bortles was thrown back out there as the starter, given the big money extension, and they just kind of knew that they couldn't. That wasn't enough, and they just haven't had the same fire they had last year. Yeah, it's a lot of points, especially for a team that's on the road. But I think I agree with you. They're just a better team, and I'd be surprised if they didn't win. I wouldn't take the 4 just because 4-point favorite on the road like that. That worries me a little bit, but yeah, I think they're definitely going to come away with the win here. So
I'm not sure if either of us has said this yet, but Jalen Ramsey did not practice for the second straight day today. I don't know if you mentioned that,
no,
but
I
that's
didn't.
another reason. That's another reason that uh, Andrew Luck should be able to have a pretty good day.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. Indy -4. Dan's second play of the week. All right. I only have one more, Dan. So why don't you go ahead and give one more before I get to my second one?
All right, so another 4 point favorite. I have this at 4 right now. I know this line has moved a little bit. I like the Miami Dolphins at home against the Buffalo Bills. I think the Bills are the worst 4-7 team I've ever seen in my entire life. They're not good at all. The fact that they put together a couple wins has the line much lower than it should. And I know Miami is not very good, but they are in the playoff race and they are the home team. And we're talking about a team in Buffalo that when they're not playing bad teams. Now I know there was that anomaly in Minnesota, but other than that, they cannot score. I don't think Josh Allen is going to run for 99 yards rushing every game like he did last week, and I don't think he's going to chuck up 70-yard passes to a random guy named Robert Foster, who I never even heard of. I think Buffalo stinks, and I'm happy to lay anything under a touchdown against basically at least 26 of the teams in the NFL, especially with Buffalo on the road.
All right. So I actually disagree with you here. It's not a play for
Man.
me, but I, I,
Okay, so
I
not officially disagree, but you don't agree.
no, yeah,
Okay,
I would lean Buffalo getting the points here. Miami's not good. I don't think they should be more than a 3 point favorite against anyone really. Um, the Bills have the second best defense in the league, according to Football Outsiders defensive DVOA. They've been great all season long, and they don't get talked about because they were blown out in so many games through no fault of their own, just because Nathan Peterman and you know who else, Derek Anderson and whoever else was just putting them in terrible situations time and time again. So, but yeah, they've been the best passing defense in the league, and they're second overall. And then offensively, when Josh Allen has started, the Bills have actually been somewhat competent offensively. Um, all yeah, when he's been a starter, I'm looking at that right now. They're 3-4 on the season with him as a starter, and one of that inc- no, I'm sorry, they're actually 3-3. So he came in to the opening game of the season against the Ravens, but that wasn't a start for him. So games he started, they're 3-3. So I think they're at least able to move the ball a little bit, whether it's he has a big arm, he's capable of those big plays downfield, and he can also move the ball with his legs, as we saw, last week. Not yeah, he's not going to run for 99 every week, but there's a couple games this year where he had 30 some yards, and getting that as a quarterback just a couple times, moving the chains, getting that first down, so that helps. So I just think they're competent offensively when he's in there. Um, and the defense is one of the best in the league. So I think they'll be able to keep this one close. I would lean them getting the 3.5.
all right.
But you disagree. You like Miami -3.5, so that's your third play of the week. My second and final play is I'm taking another dog. I like Cleveland getting 6. I think similar to Buffalo, Cleveland's defense has been very good this year, and they don't get talked about just because the team as a whole isn't very good. They're the ninth ranked defense this year. Or, I'm sorry, they're the eighth ranked defense this year in defensive DVOA. And then offensively, ever since they got rid of Hugh Jackson and Freddie Kitchens has taken over play calling duties, they've looked a lot better. Nick Chubb's been every bit the dynamic rookie we expected him to be coming out of college. Ever since he got the starting job when they traded away Carlos Hyde, he's just taken it and run with it, and he's been outstanding. Baker Mayfield had the big week against Cincinnati last week. Obviously, the Bengals are one of the worst defenses in the league, so adjust your expectations accordingly. But I do think he's starting to grow into the role, and he's looked a lot better in recent weeks with the play calling changes and just the natural progression of a rookie starting to find his way in the league. So I don't know. I think they're a pretty good team. I think they can go up against anybody in the league. Houston doesn't impress me. I know they have the long winning streak, but I don't know. There seems to be some extenuating circumstance every week where they come out on top, and I don't know. I'm just not overly impressed with them. I think 6 is way too high. I like Cleveland to at least keep this one close. I think they're a pretty good team, and with the defense and running game combo with Chubb and a defense is pretty good. I think that's a formula to keep them in this game. So I like them getting 6.
Yeah, when I first looked at the card, that was certainly one I jotted down. It was an initial lean for me for sure. Only thing is, the Browns are kind of getting a lot of hype right now because they beat the Bengals really badly and they beat the Falcons. They haven't played a defense since Hugh Jackson left. They haven't played a defense anywhere near the caliber of the Texans, and especially being on the road. That's why I ultimately stayed away. But I agree. I think we both like what the Browns team in general. They have a lot of fun, exciting players. I mean, I would not be shocked if they won the game outright.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me either, and I was surprised the line was this high, so that's why I'm taking them with getting 6. So Cleveland plus 6 for me. All right, Dan, what else do you got for us?
Well, my next play is also an underdog of the 10-point variety. I like the Detroit Lions getting 10 points. They're playing at home against the Los Angeles Rams, and I just think that's way too many points. If you look at the Rams' history, their defense is not playing well at all, and they're winning games. They're 10-1, so they're obviously having an immense amount of success. But the last win was by 4. The one before that was by 5. Then they lost. Then they won by 2. Then they beat the Niners by 29. Then they won by 3. But the point is, they're not blowing teams out. They're not winning a lot of games by double digits. And the one thing that they are not great at is defending the pass. And the Lions, basically all they do is have Matt Stafford throw the ball 45 times a game. So I think they're going to be able to score a little bit. I think 10 points is too much, especially for a home team and a well-rested one at that. So I'm happy to be on the side of the books on this one because it looks like the public is on the Rams.
Yeah, it's definitely the sharp side. Anyone that's just casually watching football is going to be siding with the Rams here. And I agree, 10's a lot with Detroit being at home.
Yeah, the Lions aren't good, but they're not lay 10 or they should be laying 10 at home. They're not that bad.
Yeah, they're not that bad. The only thing I would say, to your point about the Rams defense, they've actually been pretty good against the pass this year. They're 7th against the pass in defensive DVOA. Where they've been killed all year is in the running game. So if Detroit had Kerryon Johnson, I might be a little more inclined to think that would be a great play for you. With LeGarrette Blount being the main guy that's going between the tackles, I know he had 2 touchdowns on Thanksgiving, and he looked like he broke a few tackles, looked like he had a little something left in the tank, but he is what he is. He's a plotter at this stage of his career. I don't think he's going to be a guy that the Rams really worry about killing them in the ground game. If Johnson was still back there, I'd definitely say, hey, yeah, I agree with you here. As it is, I think Stafford just has so few weapons left in the passing game. Marvin Jones is out for the year. They traded away Golden Tate. I think they can just concentrate on Galladay and, I don't know if Bruce Ellington and
Bruce Ellington's my boy. I like Bruce Ellington.
TJ Jones and company are really going to step up. So I agree, it's a lot of points, and that's why I would never take the Rams getting 10. But I think it's very easy to see a scenario where the Rams get up by a couple scores and that's all she wrote. I don't know. It's a no play for me for that reason.
All right.
All right. So Dan's taking Detroit plus 10. And how many more plays do you have, Dan?
I have one more play, and it's just I'm starting another open teaser. I finished one out last week that won, and I'm just ready to start another.
All right. So hit us with it.
It's a 3-team 10-point teaser, as they usually are. 2 teams are getting played this week, and with 1 spot being left open for a future week. The 2 being played this week are the Chiefs, which I currently have at minus 14, so tease down would be minus 4. I see that I have on covers up. The line varies depending where it is. So I have it at Chiefs minus 4.
I'm saying it at 15.5. So
you're saying at 15.5?
Yeah.
I'm looking at because I brought up covers. On covers, you can actually see like the live lines of all the different books. Fine. I like them at under a touchdown. So we'll go. If you have 15.5, we'll tease them down to minus 5.5. The Seattle Seahawks down to pick 'em. The Seahawks play at home against the San Francisco 49ers. Seahawks are playing a lot better than me and you thought. I think we both kind of were out on them to start the year, but they're proving us wrong. And they still have an incredible home field advantage. And I think the NFL started to figure Nick Mullins out. I don't think I trust him to have much success in Seattle. The Chiefs, I know I didn't even explain it, but it's the Chiefs against the Raiders. So I think the Chiefs should be able to name the score.
Yeah, the Raiders were the team that made Nick Mullins look good. So That says all you need to know about these two matchups. That's the through line here.
You know what? Maybe next week I'll put it on the Niners game just so all three plays can be Nick Mullins related.
Yeah, there you go.
The
Yeah,
Nick Mullins teaser.
hey, you could do it, and it would probably pay off for you. So yeah, I'm not going to argue against either of these plays. Seattle at home against a Niners team that's packed in for the season. They're on their third quarterback. Seattle, very much in that playoff hunt, so they should win at home. Can't argue against that. And as for KC, Oakland, aside from that random win, I think it was against Arizona, they should basically be tanking the season at this point. They have looked awful all year. KC, still has a lot to play for home field advantage in the AFC, and they've been one of the best teams all season long. So definitely think they should cover a score here. They're a huge favorite. Can't argue against it. So 2 point teaser, or sorry, 3-team teaser for Dan. He's got 2 legs right now. KC -5.5. Seattle pick'em. 1 leg is left open for a future play. All right, so that'll wrap it up for our Week 13 plays. Full slate for Dan. He's doing a money line parlay: Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Appalachian State. He's taking Indianapolis -4, Miami -3.5, Detroit +10, and opening a 3-team teaser with KC -5.5, Seattle at a pick'em. As for myself, I'm taking Cleveland +6 and the LA Chargers +3.5. So Dan, now that we have our plays out of the way, how'd you feel after our annual Thanksgiving football game or Black Friday football game?
I felt great. We do it every year. It was a lot of fun. I was unhappy with the amount of balls that were thrown my way by our quarterback, but it's all good. I'm a bigger guy. I don't really get much separation, so I kind of need the ball thrown up so I can go get it. And I didn't get many of those, but you know what? It was great. We're getting older and we're still in decent enough shape that we can run the field back and forth, and we don't play tackle on a full-length field like we used to, but it's still a fun game. It's still competitive and always a good time.
Absolutely. So you're like the Jordy Nelson late Packers stage of your career where you need Aaron Rodgers throwing you back shoulders.
Yeah, absolutely. Box out plays, cut across the middle. I'm not exactly a burner. Never have been.
Yeah. I got out mostly worse for wear. I did jam my finger on a pass deflection. It was so swollen I couldn't wear my wedding. It was my wedding ring finger. I couldn't wear it. I couldn't wear it for about 4 days because my knuckle was so swollen.
That's like an underrated injury. That sucks.
Yeah, it's not great. It's the same finger I screwed up playing basketball about a year ago. So I think I just like fractured or something, whatever happened before. But yeah, it's getting better now. So if that's all I can say about playing a football game at our age now in our 30s, I think I'll take it. Still get out there.
If all that happens is you jam your finger and it hurts you a week later, that's a positive.
That's right. For love of the game, basically Kevin Costner out there.
Yep.
All right, so everybody, good luck watching all the Week 13 action. I think we should talk about the Eagles are back in the divisional hunt, wouldn't you say? They have a big Monday night game against Colt McCoy and the Redskins. If they win, they're tied with Washington. It looks like Dallas is actually going to win this New Orleans game. We'll see how that plays out. But, they're back in the hunt at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, technically, the Eagles probably control their own destiny. But the problem is they have a game in Los Angeles against the Rams. They have a game in Dallas, which I'm just watching the Saints play in Dallas right now. It looks like they kind of have like that feel to them where things are going right, and kind of like the Eagles had last year. I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but the Eagles just had a feel where everything was coming together and felt right. Dallas, just watching this game, and I hope by the time you guys listen to it, this is a silly thing to say because Dallas blew a lead, but they kind of look like they have that.
Yeah, they're up 13-0 right now. They have looked in control the entire way. So, yeah, we kind of chalked this up as like, oh, well, Dallas will lose to New Orleans, so that'll be great. But they'll be in kind of the driver's seat for the division if they pull this one out. So, yeah,
we need some Breeze magic.
Yeah, or just like any Breeze production at all would be great. But yeah, I don't think anyone expects much from the Eagles at this point, but they're still alive. There's still hope. So see how that plays out. Big game Monday night, must win, obviously. So, all right, enjoy that. Enjoy all of the Sunday football action as well, and good luck to everyone out there with their plays. And we'll talk to you guys in 2 weeks. No podcast next week.